Well, howdy, howdy. Good morning, or at least it is here. How's everybody doing? Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey, live from Angeles City. And wow, there's actually a lot to talk about here, to be honest with you. Um, but, we'll get to it. Bruce came in and left us a message. Biden needs to grow a set and help our allies as we promised. Can't let the Philippines keep getting attacked and not respond. It will only get worse if we ignore what's going on. You know what, Bruce? I can't disagree with that, but I did some research, and there are some rules of engagement that we actually have to abide by um, when it comes to this. And it was interesting when it comes down to it. The Philippines has to ask us. Elvis, good morning. Morning, buddy. How are you? I hope you're doing well. John, good morning, Mike from NC. I agree, Bruce. Michael says if you order KFC is ready for pickup. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Oh, Scott Ferris, good morning. How are you? You know what? I'll briefly just go over this. The UNCLOS, so the United States never signed and became a party of the UNCLOS, the agreement about economic zones. And with that being said, while the Philippines is and China did, China doesn't follow the rules. And there are rules of engagement. And actually, I saw some of the rules of engagement that the U.S. Navy standard operating procedure has to follow. And they have to have permission when defending a foreign flagged foreign national. So I thought that was interesting. So the Philippines is going to have to ask for help. It's not something that happens automatically. Good morning, Ricky. How are you? Scott. Dos Bagos working California. So much good, bad info on being a future expat. You know what? It's not all bad. It's not. You just really have to stay aware. You have to keep aware of what's going on. Scott and the world as I see it. Good morning, Scott. It's getting closer and closer, my friend. You'll be here soon. Good morning from Duma, Mike. One more week, moving to Bohol next week. So excited. I bet you are, Jack. I've never been to Duma, but I've been to Bohol, and I thought, we thought it was a beautiful, beautiful place, to be honest with you. Dave from Alaska. How's it going, Doc? 18 degrees here in Anchorage, but with a cigar in hand, hold on here. I lost something. There we go. With a cigar in hand and a good glass full of Four Roses bourbon, I'm feeling like I'm back at the reef chopping it up. Yeah, we met, hi is Dave. This is Dave. We met him, Arlen and I met him for a bite to eat at Tequila Reef last time he was in the Philippines. About, 6 weeks ago or so. Something like that. So either way, we've got the issue with China going on. We've got the issue with expats that really just are unprepared. But, I don't think that's really big news. I think it's always been like that. If we had some really, 20-year veterans here that were veterans of the Philippines and other expats here for 20 plus years, I think they might say, hey, it's always been an issue. It will happen. Matt, Ukraine is our ally, but nobody seems to want to support them. What gives? You know what, Matt? I do not know. Um, uh, the Ukraine is not yet, although they've applied and made all of the required information for joining NATO, the Ukraine is still not a part of NATO. Copal, good morning from the home of the world's best bourbon. Where's the world's best bourbon from, Copal? Tell us a little bit about that. So, unprepared expats. I got a lot of grief. Oh my God. My video with Fat Bastard really got a lot of grief from people, which is about a night out with an expat. I just tried to do something fun and funny, and apparently it hit a nerve with some people. Woe be onto it. Breaks my heart. If it's Kentucky, then you get no grief from me. That's what Dave says. I don't know where the best bourbon. It might be Tennessee. I don't know. Michael says, Dos Bagos, I have been to the Philippines 3 times for 30 days at a time. First time was shocking and a culture shock. Second time was a cakewalk. The third time, I did not want to come back. Yeah. You know what? The Philippines is what you make of it. Retirement here in the Philippines is what you make of it. If you're realistic about your goals, your abilities, and how you're going to live, and you roll with the flow, then it's what you make of it. And you'll have a great time. We don't regret retiring here at all. Is it as convenient as the U.S.? No, it's not. But wasn't raised here either, so I'm not used to it. What we consider an inconvenience, many Filipinos consider that, life, and they don't see it as a negative in any way, shape, or form. So, hey, it's all going to be about you and what you make of it. I have a video coming out about, can you live cheap in the Philippines? Yeah, you can. And we're going to give you some examples. If you want to live cheap, you can live cheap. Nah, we wouldn't live that way, but it can be done. So, it's what you want. It's what your expectations are. It's what you're willing to deal with. Michael says, get your feet on the ground and see for yourself. Yeah, that's the absolute best way to do it, is to come and experience the Philippines. Now, we always say that your trip, your exploration trip should be at least a month. You're going to get a 30-day visa, 29 days in a sleep visa, and that gives you 4 weeks essentially to go spend a week in 4 different locations. So you do your research beforehand. You find the 4 spots that you think are most compatible for you, and then you explore each one of them. Rent, living conditions, shopping, hospitals, necessities, whatever it is. You've got to go down your list, and then you figure it out. It's pretty much that simple. Ruby, good morning, Ruby, or good day, anyways. I think it's a little later over there in Australia for here. It's 9 o'clock in the morning here. I hope you're doing well. Ruby, Arlene and I had the pleasure of meeting Ruby and her husband last time they were in town. So, and they'll be retiring here. Ruby's actually a Filipina, born, raised, educated, the whole 9 yards right here. I don't know, born and raised right here in Angeles. I'm not sure if she went to college here in Angeles or if she went to college somewhere else. But yes, So, anyways, so you've got the entire West Philippine Sea issue. And I will tell you what's interesting. You know, I know we don't get a lot of traffic. Um, we don't get a lot of viewers that are super interested in the mechanics of China and the West Philippine Sea. So I'm gonna do another video and you guys can skip it if it doesn't interest you. But I thought what was interesting was, especially now with what's going on in the Middle East. You know, in Yemen, all right, the Houthis have said that they are targeting all shipping related to Israel, except that it's much more difficult to do that than it is to actually say it. It's easy to say it. I mean, they actually hit a Chinese cargo ship with a drone, thinking it was a Israel-related ship. So I started thinking and I started looking at maritime traffic. Now you can go to marinetraffic.com and you can take a look at the actual ships that have their AIS on, and you can see how much traffic the Philippines could impact. That location of the West Philippine Sea can impact. And if you've got all of this coming out of the Andaman Sea, all right, which is right there where Yemen is, they can block that down. You can see that all of a sudden cargo, fuel, natural gas, those shipments can be interrupted worldwide, not stopped. I mean, you know, the Earth's a big circle. You can go around, but the additional amount of time and fuel, and the fact that, you know, in order to make that cut around the tip of Africa, you're not talking about the best seas. So, Ruby says, explore the weather too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Michael says, I'll tell everyone this about getting feet on the ground. Book flight between islands next time. Take a ferry to the next location, then book a bus to get to another place. This way you get a feel for it. Well, certainly you can do that if you're willing to travel that way. Absolutely, Michael. Dennis Richardson. Hi, Mike. Your videos are awesome. Retiring there in April. Do I need to buy a throwaway ticket while I wait for my retirement visa? You'll need that throwaway ticket to get into the country. All right? You still need a departure ticket. And then when you say for my retirement visa, are you talking about a SRRV? Or are you talking about 13A? I don't know. So, Ruby says she studied at MIT and UP Dillman, not Angeles. Okay. Where is Philippines MIT at? I'm not familiar. Magdalene, I don't know. I'm not sure. Copal says, I'm hesitant to do ferries, but inter-island exploration is a necessity. There you go, Copal. The ferries don't really bother me that much. Copal's asking MIT in the state. Dos Bagos, Michael Atos. Thumbs up. Ruby says, no, MIT in Manila with engineering degree and a master's at UP Dillman, where education is recognized in the U.S. and Australia. Wow. Smart young lady there. Dennis says, we'll need help with that. Your knowledge is appreciated. Let me go back. Yeah, you need that throwaway ticket. You definitely need that throwaway ticket. That is a mandatory. That and the e-travel pass you're going to need. And then, of course, a passport with at least 6 months of expiration on it, and your plane ticket. And a reservation that you can list as your contact area, even though it can change. Mike, when was your very first trip to the Philippines? Wow, Ricky. I came to the Philippines for the first time. Gosh. Uh, you know what? Let's just say it was a long time ago. All right. Yeah, quite a ways back. But as far as enjoying the Philippines, actually getting around in the Philippines, seeing parts of, other than Manila, seeing parts of the Philippines was 2013, 14, something like that. 2012, 2013, 2014, somewhere around in there. So not so big a deal. Wow, 44 in the room. How nice. Michael Copal says, be nice when your e-travel pass. No cussing. Yes. You know what? They just had a foreigner denied entry. This was probably 2-3 weeks ago. Denied entry on because he got fed up, didn't want to fill it out, and turned around and cussed and everything else on his e-travel pass. And so, boom, they said, you know what? You're not worth having. And they denied him entry. Silent Bill, is your partner a lady boy? No, not at all. Why would you think that? Well, it don't matter. You know, no, my wife is my wife, and trust me, I can honestly say she's all woman. All right, 100%, natural born. But okay, we'll see how that goes. 45 in the room, nice. Certainly appreciate it. Oh, you know what I need to do? Hang on. I need to check something that I always forget. Let me just jump right in here, jump over here, go to content, go here, edit. I always forget this. Bum, bum, bum. I'm so sorry. I apologize. There we go. So, if indeed you were looking to send a super chat or a sticker or anything, you may want to leave the channel and jump back in. I forgot to turn monetization on. That sticker is now available, and no problem. I mean, don't do it. Just saying, it's that. Augie Ben says, "Is it dark here?" Nah. Copal says, "Rude." I don't know. Maybe it's a legitimate question for the guy. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We're pretty easygoing, folks. Is it dark there? No, it's not. It's just the lighting and the way I've got the office set up. That's all. But no, it's bright sunshine. I'm looking right now. Bright sunshine and not a cloud in the sky. What a question to ask about your wife. Rude. You know what? I don't know. We'll see. Ruby, quite frustrating when you hear expats complain about the living conditions in the Philippines when they've only stayed in one place. Philippines is a big country. And you know what, Ruby? I wish I could say that every day. I agree with you. It is absolutely full of beautiful, beautiful locations. And if you choose to live in a metropolitan city, you're going to end up with some of these issues. Tony Manning, what's up? Not much, Tony. Just kind of jumping around, seeing what's going on. Mike, your first trip. You know what? Nah, I think MacArthur got here before I did. Trust me. Giovanni, raining in Florida today. Wow, nice. Okay. Sometimes rain is good. Sometimes you need rain. You know, we actually had a different rainy season than what we've been used to. We had a lot of rainy days, but it wasn't pouring rain like last year or the year before. It was, we had a couple, downpours here, but it wasn't pouring rain. So, Silent Bill says he was curious only. Okay. Well, then we won't take any offense to it whatsoever. Andrew Asquith. Well, good morning, Andrew. We hope you're doing well. Where are you from? So, anyways, it was interesting to read that the standard operating procedure that is issued to naval commanders, specifically addressing defending foreign flagged vessels, is that even with an agreement between countries with a foreign flagged vessel, the Navy has to, unless there's immediate life in peril, you have to contact them first. You have to contact. So in other words, if the Chinese are doing something that impedes a Philippine ship, you have to actually contact the Philippines unless arrangements have been made in advance. Great video about China blocking shipping loads. Google search. Antonio Carpus South Sea spoke extensively about this. He was on the Supreme Court. Yes, he did. And I may follow that up with another video showing some other things. Philippines is about the size of California. You know what, Adam? I don't know. I never really compared it. I don't know. Giovanni says, you see the Tennessee tornado they posted on Google and YouTube that hit Saturday. Yes, I did see it. And we've been watching. There's some bad weather out at my mom's, but she should be in good condition right now. Andrew Asquith, Maganda, originally Hawaii and Florida. Nice. You know, I lived in Hawaii as a kid for, 4 months, 5 months, something like that. So, but I was young. I was a teenager. Giovanni says SOP, standard operating procedure. I haven't heard that since the military. Good to hear that again. Yeah, well, you know what, Giovanni? We have SOP in medicine as well. Edgardo Lugo. How you doing, Edgardo? Nice of you. Thank you for joining. The Philippines is a beautiful place to visit, to live here. You'll appreciate the peaceful and comfortable way of life. And you will, as long as you can try and enjoy it. As long as you can understand it's not where you were raised and spent 40 years. Okay? Things are a little different. Ricky says, I understand why you have to have a return airline ticket to enter the Philippines, but I always do, but have never been asked to show it for my itinerary. They just stamp my passport and say enjoy. Yeah. Now, Ricky, what's interesting is We actually have seen them check it at check-in prior to boarding the flight to the Philippines. The airline is like required to make sure you have a ongoing ticket. All right, whether it's 30 days out or a throwaway ticket or whatever. That's what we've been told. I don't know, but you're right. I've never had to show my ongoing ticket. Ruby says, I too am choosy on which part of the Philippines I'll live and retire. It has to tick all the things I need and want in retirement. Absolutely, Ruby, it does. And I don't think people pay enough attention to that, to be honest with you. I really don't. Ruby, as an aside, you made a comment about the spreadsheet or the whatever you want to call it, the video that I did about starting to choose where you're going to live or how you're going to live, and talking about health care and insurance and everything else. And you know what? You're right. And I'm doing a follow-up on that. I just wanted to let you know, I just took for granted that when I put healthcare in there, that was something that people would consider. But yeah, I guess you really do need to spell it out. Giovanni says, China getting too big for their own good. This election year will turn it around once Biden's gone. I don't know. I really don't know. What I do know is that, I'm grateful that it's not a shooting situation. John, only cloudy now here in Charlotte. One more passing shower after midnight. Yeah. John, did you guys have a tornado warning earlier? I saw on the maps that it was marked in red in that area. Tony Nguyen, the CCP is never following international laws. Chinese communist evil regime. Their government is, we all know I'm just not a fan of the Chinese government. Chinese people are great. Best site to get throwaway ticket from, please, I like to know since I'm moving there and doing an SRV when I arrive in Manila. Before you do an SRV, I'd have to go back, Giovanni, and check. I think before you can apply for an SRV, you have to have an ACR card. I can't remember, but I don't know. I don't have an SRV. I can look into it, but wherever you can find the cheapest ticket. The throwaway ticket is simply that. It's a throwaway. Now, there are people who buy throwaway tickets that are refundable, and then people that buy throwaway tickets that they just throw away. You can get a ticket. Sometimes you can get a cheap flight to Bangkok or a cheap flight to Vietnam or wherever, and you're willing to just throw the ticket away. But it's going to be wherever you can find the cheapest ticket. Dennis, do you know if there are any restrictions as to how much cash, $9,999 US dollar convertible into pesos is the last I looked. At 10,000, supposedly you have to declare at 10,001. You're allowed up to $10,000. But that's what it was the last I looked. You may want to check and see if it's changed. They've never really asked me how much cash I have. But it's better to be within the law than to have a problem with it. And you can bring as much cash as you want, but you have to declare it. And you better have a reason for it. Okay? John says, no, not that he heard of. Okay, well, I didn't hear anything from my mom, so I'm assuming everything went fine. Giovanni says, I'm married to a Filipino, but they want to do an SRV instead of a 13A. Okay. Well, You know what? If you've looked at all of your options, if you've looked at the benefit of the SRV versus the 13A, um, then and you're happy with it, that's great. There are some advantages to both that are different from each other. James Wright says snow tonight in upstate New York. Wow. Okay. Michael, Giovanni, are you married to a Filipino? And Giovanni says yes. James says PAL boarding screens all documents needed to enter. Yeah, James, that's what I thought or I remembered. Wow, 50 in the room. Thank you guys so much for coming in. So, with that being said, so we did the video earlier this week about the guy saying that he was wanting to get married so that her children would get his Social Security when he passes away. And I was also surprised at a lot of the comments. I got the general response that I expected, but then I got a lot of comments about mind my own business. I shouldn't care. It doesn't matter. Well, I was just the guy started a conversation with me. Then I got comments about how I should report him for fraud. You know what? It's not fraud until you do it. So, whatever. Mike, are you on a 13A visa? What happens when the Filipino partner dies? Does the 13 holder ceases? If no, what's the best alternative visa afterwards? Yes, Ruby. The 13A, to the best of our knowledge, unless they've changed it, all right, the 13A will not renew. You cannot renew it if your partner if you're no longer married. Okay? Number one. Number two, I could convert it to an SRV. That would be the most ideal one. Or I could simply become a tourist again. There's all kinds of, and there are other visas available now. So I mean, there's a lot of options. So I think what essentially happens is I'm going to have to wait, and hopefully that'll never happen, and I'll never have to explore it. Andrew says, we got caught by U.S. agents for carrying 10,000 in the Philippines, but the Philippines never checked. So what, they caught you? Well, I don't know why the U.S. would say anything about you carrying money into the Philippines. That's strange, but okay. When I came to the Philippines in 2018, Edgardo says, knowing I was going to stay, I bought a cheap throwaway ticket to Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, absolutely. Mike Simpson, good morning, Mike. How you doing? Giovanni says, if you enter to a Filipino and enter with your wife, you get a better entrance visa. If she is in the Philippines, have her meet you at your connecting airport. Yeah, I think, you could get a balikbayan visa, all right, or status, okay, if you enter with your wife and then hold that over until you get to your SRVs, plenty of time. But you could do a whole lot of other things. Mike, may I have your email address? I'd like to hire you as a consultant when I arrive, if that's possible. Dennis, we don't do that. You happy to, my email address is down below in the About section. If you look at the About section, it's there. But honest to God, Dennis, we're happy to give information. We're happy to give you as much information as we can. I don't want to work. And if I was to take money for something, I'd want to do it. And that would require working. And my whole life and Arlene's life is all about enjoying our time in retirement. But I certainly appreciate it. I would say, just, you know what, send me some ideas about what you'd like in email, and I'll be happy to answer them as best that I can. But thank you. Andrew, you can always set up to send money by to yourself. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. You can wire money. Well, you won't have a bank account right off the get-go. Okay? Let's assume you don't have a bank account here in the Philippines. You can use Wise, Remitly. You can, you can Western. There's all kinds of different ways. I was advised by another YouTuber, even if you're married, 10,000 is max you can bring in. Over that, be ready, like Mike said, and they're going to question you at immigration or whatever. Actually, Giovanni, I will tell you right now, I brought in $9,500 US, and Arlen brought in $9,500. It's per person. All right. And again, though, that's what the rules say. It's per person, and they never asked. So would something else have come up? Who knows? But and that was years ago. Now when we wire large sums, especially when we start to wire, because we're involved in property, we've had to wire large sums of money to the Philippines. And the bank does require a couple of different things. And they want to know why. And they want to see why. So, but, those were 6-digit wires. They could have confiscated all the money, Andrew says. Well, I don't know. If you enter with your Filipino wife, you get 1 year, no return ticket needed. I don't know, Bruce. I had to have, let me think. I entered with Arlen. You know what, Bruce? You are correct. When I came, Arlen and I were already married. And when I came as a single individual, I had to have a return. But once Arlen and I were married, yes, you had to. You get a Balikbayan visa. Todd, hi Mike, how you doing, Todd? I hope you're doing well. How are things going? Counting down, only about 1.5 years left for you. Hope you're doing well, Todd. At Mike, she's here in Florida with me. We did a K1, but we're coming home to build a house. We got land in Negros Oriental. So you're saying a 13A, the best way, being a disabled veteran. I don't know, Giovanni. I mean, in order for you to get a 13A, you're going to have to be in the Philippines. So you can't even apply for it prior to being in the Philippines. You can do the paperwork, but you have to go through NBI and everything else here. Then secondarily to that, is that better than 13A being a disabled vet? I don't know. I'm a 13A because I don't get that cheap SRRV discount. An SRRV is going to cost me way more than it will cost you. I'm not a U.S. veteran, so I don't qualify for that. So I've got a 13A. And if something were to happen to Arlen, well, I'd have to just move it to an SRRV, but it wouldn't be the military one. Dennis, if you go to Old Dog New Tricks, he has a video on consulting firm for immigration visas and other issues. There you go. Yeah, that'd be JRC. He's been hawking JRC visas, and they seem to do a very good job. I don't know. They actually contacted us and asked us if they could sponsor us. But the way they would sponsor us didn't really appeal to me. We don't do this for the money. We do this as a hobby. The money's nice. Don't get me wrong. A couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. It's nice. All right. We have our own philanthropy that we apply it to. Um, but, uh, you know, we're not going to support something that we're not totally on board with because we don't know them. I'm not saying we're not on board because there's an issue. Copal says, I wouldn't try to take large amounts of cash to NAIA. They might eat half of it. Yeah. Copal is referring to a CCTV camera footage of a person in immigration stealing money. It was a woman who was in immigration, an Filipina, and she stole money out of the wallet of, I think it was a Chinese couple, and she folded it up and swallowed it just to steal it, I guess. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see whatever happened to her. Hey, James, how are you? Thanks, Ruby. We do now. But at the time, we were moving here and wanted to set up money. I see. Ruby says immigration wouldn't confiscate your money as long as you declare them on your arrival card, which is right. That's what I said. You got to declare it overwards. They might question you on the source of your funds if it's legit, not money laundering. Right. And one of the suggestions that we had was that the way you show it's legit is that you actually show a withdrawal slip for that amount of money from your bank. Don't just keep a bunch of cash at home and shuttle it in. Show with, and that has been used by somebody that we know. So take it for what it's worth. All right. Andrew, not per person. That's what we thought, but it's per family unit. That's why we didn't report it. I don't know, Andrew. When we did it, we read the rules and it was per person. But they never asked, so we don't know. Giovanni, get 2 banks in America, make one a Charles Schwab bank, because when you use ATM and they're in the Philippines, they're reimbursed back. ATM fees, best to have 2 banks in America. Yeah, Giovanni, there's a lot of things that people should do. Charles Schwab does that. So does Barclays International, depending on the account you have. And so does Edward Jones, depending on the account that you have. Eduardo says he was born in New York City, raised in Puerto Rico for a few years as a child. Neat. That's nice. Ruby, same experience with sending 6 figures to a bank account. You have to declare the purpose and the source. Yeah, Ruby, and we declared it. Showed them they requested to see a copy of the purchase agreement or intent to purchase thing, and fine, that was it. And it was funny. It wasn't the money was here. We just couldn't access it till we went in to get it. You don't need permission from your U.S. bank to send it, but they want permission to release it, that they're doing it in the right way. So the Philippines is somewhat like living in Puerto Rico. Yeah, I think so. Maybe not. I don't know. I've never lived there. A Joe named Mike. Whoops. There we go. Sorry about that. A Joe named Mike. Good morning. How are you? Where are you from, Joe? I don't think we've met before. Maybe we have. Jeez. You know what? I take that back. Yes, we have. I do remember you now. BT and Buddy in the Philippines. Good morning, BT. How you doing? Are you going to be in town this week? Dennis Richardson. Thanks, Michael, for the heads up. Everyone's input is extremely helpful. BT says USAA is also a bank that will reimburse you for your fees. Yeah. Now, I will caution people about this. You know, be observant as to the rate that you end up getting. Now, for the people that I know that use Schwab, the rate that they're getting, in other words, you're taking dollars in the U.S. and you're withdrawing it as pesos. There are a couple of things I want to caution you about. The first one is there is a conversion rate. Make sure that whoever you're doing this with, your conversion rate is not just having dry butt sex with you. That's the first issue. The second issue that I would caution you with, make sure you got plenty of pesos. ATMs without money, once you get out of the bigger cities, ATMs run dry. I saw a video the other day of a guy that had to go to 5 different ATMs and then get in a line with like 40 people to get a lousy $20K. And he had no pesos. That was it. He was out of money. You know, that's where it's different than the U.S. You know, in the U.S., it's funny. I carried very little cash, all right? And I carried my ATM and my credit cards. And if I needed money, cash, I just go to the ATM, any ATM at any bank, okay? Here, you need cash. You need to have cash. So, USA will question anything over $10,000 in cash as illegal activity. One way to bring large cash value is junk pre-1964 silver coins. You declare the cash value, not the silver value, not legal. Michael, are you talking about USA will question anything going into the U.S. as illegal activity? I don't know. Let's get a little bit more defined on that. Or are you saying that the U.S. is going to say if you have more than $10,000 and you're leaving the country that it's illegal? Let us know what you think about that. Elvis says, have an awesome day, Mike. Time to check the SRV in 13A. Thanks for your information. Really appreciate it. Anytime, Elvis. Anytime we can help. And like we tell everybody else, hey, don't just listen to us. Do some of the basic research because the rules can change. Okay? Rules can change. Fiesta where you are, BT. Okay. ATMs are always out of money here. Is it just during Fiesta or is it all the time? Bruce, I just searched the 10K cash limit. It is per person, but you need prior permission if over that amount by filling out the form prior to entry. Only one form is needed. That's what I thought, Bruce. It was. I know Arlene and I brought in 9.5 each. Okay, so we didn't have to fill out the form at all. But that was, quite a few years ago. What about PNB branches in the U.S.? Went to the New York City branch to send money to PNB Angeles City branch. Smooth transaction. It's my understanding that you can do it in New York. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a PNB branch it might be LA, but it might be somewhere else in California, Ruby. I don't know how it works exactly, but I know that I called PNB and I asked them one time years ago, I called them and I asked them, I want to set up an account while I'm here in the U.S. that I can use in the Philippines, a Philippine peso and a Philippine dollar account. Excuse me. And they said, no, you cannot do that. We can transfer money between PNB accounts, but you can't set up the Philippine account here. But we heard somebody else did do that. And so maybe that's changed. So give them a call. Giovanni says, so Mike, best way you saying use Remitly to send money. They are cheaper than Western Union. Plus, don't ask a lot of questions like Western Union. You know what, Giovanni? I don't know. They are definitely cheaper than Western Union. I think it's called Wise now, Wise, bought them. But I would do a couple of test runs in the U.S. prior to, and make sure that's just set up that way and it works and you've got everything done for that. But, you know, most of the people that I knew that use remittance companies use Wise. Harish Mahubani Epic Food. Good morning, Harish. Having a great day. Hope you're having a great day as well. JRC Visa Consulting has helped me stay out of jail and got me a 13A. I have a short fuse when dealing with red tape. Yeah. We did the 13A. We didn't use them. We used somebody else for the 13A. It's actually pretty darn easy, to be honest with you. But they have a tickle file, so every year when I have to update, stuff like that, they do that. Copal says, do you suggest a peso account too? Transfer bank to bank, just withdraw a peso at the bank, or is that an all-day ordeal to withdraw at the bank? No. Copal, I highly suggest that when you open up bank accounts here, you have a dollar account and a peso account. And I'll tell you why. If you have bring 400 checks, I know Union Bank, I know BPI, and I know BDO. If you walk in, and China Bank, if you walk into those banks and you write a check, a U.S. check, all right, from your U.S. checking account into your Philippine dollar account, there's no fee, there's nothing. All right, so now you've moved U.S. dollars here to the Philippines. Now what you can do is, and what we suggest is we keep a nice amount of money in the dollar account, and we resupply that every month. But there's always a balance forward. So we give ourselves an allowance every month. So sometimes we may not, though. Sometimes we may say, you know what? I think the rate's going to go up a half a peso or 3/4 of a peso. And when you're talking about, 400,000 or 500,000 pesos, well, hey, a half a peso makes a big difference. So then when the rate is where you want it to be, that's when you move it from the dollar account to the peso account. And then I did a video on this about at China Bank. If you can actually shop it, and you should watch that video. It's interesting. In the small town and stay in, I send MoneyGram to myself, walk across the street and get money from the money transfer. There you go, Michael. I mean, you know what, folks? There is multiple ways, and it's whatever's worth your time. I mean, quite frankly, I have a friend that goes and jumps through hoops to get his money. He could go to the ATM right down, literally, it is literally 50 feet from his elevator, and he could get money. Or for a quarter, for 20 centavos, he's willing to take a Grab to Marquee Mall, go to the bank at Marquee Mall, takes about 2 hours, and he's going to get about 20 centavos more than normal. So it's whatever works. It's whatever you want. Harish says, thank you for your information. I watch your videos. Well, we hope it helps. All right. We're pretty simple, straight up folks, Harish. We really and truly are. BT says all the time the ATMs are out, but I usually wait till I'm on Clark. Wow, that's kind of like a hour and 20-minute drive to get to an ATM for you, BT. A Joe named Mike. I'm an American here in Angeles City like you. Life is good. Joe, have we met? I don't know. I think I've seen you comment on videos before. I don't know. Michael, if you get stopped by any law enforcement, DEA, FBI, immigration over 10,000, they'll claim illegal and you will forfeit your money. They call civil forfeiture. Good luck getting it back. You know, Michael, we've seen instances where people have done that, and there were a lot of suspicious things around it. I can tell you right now, I've never had that problem in my entire life, so I wouldn't know. DEA and FBI have never had an interest in me. I have literally boarded flights with way more than $10,000 for a particular business purpose, unfortunately. But I'm not even going to go into it. It's totally legal. Totally legal. All right. But I've never had a problem with it whatsoever at all. But I have seen videos on where they get it, and it's almost impossible to get it back. Edgardo, hear the song, out of stock. Yeah, it happens. There's a PNB Bank in LA and two in New York. There you go, Bruce. I thought there was one in LA as well. Living the last 7 years, I've just used my ATM card with no problems. Great. John, that is great. We never use our ATM card. I think I used my ATM card once, maybe twice in the past 3.5 years. We never use them. Van Turner says, I use Western Union and get U.S. dollars because they cheat you on exchange rate. I take the U.S. dollars across the hall in the mall, and I get a rate over 1% higher. Yeah, absolutely. You can get a better rate on the street than you can at Western Union, for sure. Harish, which consultant was good for Visa? It's JRC Immigration and Consultancy. Letter J, letter R, letter C. The pre-1964 junk coins are 90% silver, but legal tender $1 silver coins is around $20 in silver. Not legal advice. Yeah. Okay. Todd, open both. Transfer dollars to the dollar account, then you exchange. There you go. Exactly what I said. Todd knows. Todd's not even ready to move yet. He's got like 1.5 years, all right, before he moves. And he knows already exactly what to do. BT admitted, got to be careful sending money by Remitly in small towns out in the province from Palawan Pond and others. May not be able to receive more than $50K. Yes, that is another big issue. BT's absolutely correct. There's an issue. We know that we have to be very cautious about how much money we send to the province to our Lynn's family, because I can send like three transfers of 40, 50K each, but I can't send one for 150. All right. Copal during December. Yeah, the rates tend to go down, they say. I don't know. I think with whatever and everything that controls it, I got no idea whether those things, but I mean, traditionally, they've always said December, the rate goes down because the OFWs are brings so much cash in. But definitely skip converting during December. Yeah. Is the 13A the best visa for a retired single 6-year-old? No, Dennis, absolutely not. You can't get a 13A. A 13A visa is a spousal visa, essentially. You have to be married. She has to sign off on it, and you can't get a 13A. So you're going to have to use one of the different retirement visas that are available, or do a border run every 3 years. Yeah, about December rather usually a lot lower. BT tell you 13A's for married folks. Like I said, BT's got a 13A. If you're married, it's a good way. Ruby, geez, 0.20 centavos more. Maybe this guy got plenty of time on his hands. But I agree, Ruby. I agree totally. I you know what? For 50 centavos, for half a peso, I would not do it. Would I consider doing it for 1 peso on the dollar if I was going to be moving like $2,000? No, I'm not sure I would. If I was going to be moving $5,000, I might if I was bored that day. But for 20 centavos, no way. BPA offers a better exchange rate on 5,000 US dollars. You need to request the benefit. The branch needs to approve from Makati. Makati responds quickly. Yeah, you can dick around with this stuff. I mean, you'd be surprised what you can get around with. A man named Joe named Mike. I'm sorry. I don't think we've met in person. We've spoken a few times on lives at Mike's Philippine Journeys and that one that turned me on. Oh, okay, Joe. Great. There we go. Mike. Going to have to get tongue twisted. 63. That is a new record in our room for a live. 63. Thank you so much for everyone. I really appreciate it. Tejas Filipino, enjoy your coverage on China. Wow. People tell me they like my China coverage, but the videos don't do that well. But I'm going to be doing another one on China and the maritime trade routes and what's going on, and then updating on the other stuff. So the haters are just going to have to hate it. That's all I can say. Nothing I can do. Marish, thank you. Well, thank you as well. Giovanni, BT and Betty, you got a YouTube channel. You got a lot of information. Would like to learn. Like I do for Mike. Yes, BT does have a channel. I know he does. Michael, just a point for everyone moving from the USA. Contact all the credit reporting companies and freeze your credit. Also, if you have bank accounts, stop overdraft protection and keep most in savings. I think that there are a lot of things that you need to do. You know what? There are, if you're moving from the U.S., you need to put a relative on your bank account. You need to have somebody that can come into that bank and fix shit. And I don't know any other way around it because you can't do it from here. All right? There's no way around that. You can't do, you've got to have, also keep in mind, I'd like to know, if you guys, after this is over, if you put into the comment section, if you're using a U.S. telephone number here, all right, is it on a U.S. telecom, like Sprint, T-Mobile, whatever, all right, are you able to do two-factor verification on that? Back when we originally came, you used to be able to get two-factor verification by a text through VoIP, which means we could use Skype, which is what we did. All right. And you could use a couple of other, voice over internet protocol. You can't do that anymore. You can't use a Google number. Although I've been told that there are a couple people with old Google numbers that still use two-factor verification or still are able to get two-factor verification. I know that my bank in the U.S., my primary bank in the U.S., will not. All right. So one of the things I'd like to know is who's using what for that. Last I looked, T-Mobile Magenta plan, especially if you're military, retired military, they have a great deal. Todd says 4.5 to 5 years. What? No way. All right, you're going to have to come visit at least, Todd. Which other consultancy is good after JRC? Name some. You know what? We don't use any, Harashi, and we don't recommend them because we don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. I think that, you could probably look at a couple of different YouTube videos, folks that you trust, and ask them questions. And eventually, I know that here in Angeles City, people use JRC and they use 583 for their Visa stuff. Andy Omar, I just take off my Schwab ATM and get good rates, plus rebates if I want more. Western Union and send yourself bank to cash pickup. Yeah, that works. Good morning, Andy. Thanks for joining us. ARC Immigration in Angeles is who I use, says a Joe named Mike. Okay, there you go. Just send dollars. Yes. How long do you have to be married and living in the Philippines to be able to apply for a 13A visa? I don't know that there are any requirements as to how long you have to be married, but you have to have if I would have to go back and look. I don't want to quote it as wrong. I think the worst case scenario is that you have to have an ACR card in order to apply for your 13A. That's the first part of the step. And then you'll have to go through your MBI check, your fingerprints, and your interview down in wherever, Intermorris, I think it was. Giovanni BT, just subscribe to your channel. How do you just send it to yourself, chosen one. Just send it in your name, and you can pick it up at half a dozen, MoneyGram, Palawan, any place that allows Western Union, chosen one. Plenty of them. Yeah, and the USAA is like that. I think they're affiliated with Schwab. It's possible. Edgardo saying hello to Andy Omar. Kawajiri, Google, question mark. It used to be that Google had an IP service and you could get a Google phone number. And for years, you could function with that Google phone number over the internet. And Google would connect you up, the whole 9 yards, and banks would text you. Banks no longer, to the best of my knowledge, will text voice over IP protocols anymore. Brent's World. Good morning, Brent. How are you? I had identity theft and they cleaned out my bank account plus savings account because of overdraft protection. Keep most of your money in savings. Transfer is not needed. Transfer as needed. Wow, Michael, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it was insured and you were able to get your money back. Which reminds me, just so people know, In the U.S., your individual bank accounts, every account at a FDIC insured bank is insured for up to $100,000. In the Philippines, it's different. It's you, an individual. It doesn't matter how many accounts you have at the bank. If you have a checking, a savings, a thrift account, whatever, all of those combined, they're only insured to a maximum of 500,000 pesos, which is somewhere around 9,500 bucks at today's rate. So keep that in mind. 500,000. Yeah. That doesn't sound right. Wait a second. That doesn't sound. Why doesn't that sound right to me? Let me look real quick. Yeah, I guess $9,001 US. Yeah, 500,000 pesos. That's what you're insured for. Okay? Big difference. Jesuit USA is pure junk. I have Charles Schwab as well. I have USAA, haven't banked with them in 20 years. I think it's all, good morning, Brent. NFCU. I'm sorry, I don't know what NFCU is. Somebody know what NFCU is? A Joe named Mike just became a member. Wow, thank you. Gee, I'm sorry. Let's see here. James, my Social Security comes direct to my bank here. I keep it in a bigger amount of cash here. I never send any money here. But if I do, I just go online with Chase and bank-to-bank wire here. Yeah, that's what we do. We do that. We go online with Wells Fargo and bank-to-bank transfer into our dollar account. Giovanni says, what is the best U.S. cell phone company used in the Philippines? T-Mobile, AT&T, who has best international rates. Okay, Giovanni, I was thinking about this just this morning. As of about 6 months ago, the best I could find, and I should have acted on it then, was the T-Mobile Magenta plan. So it's a T-Mobile, I don't know, it's like $40 a month, the Magenta plan, and that plan is specifically benefiting of international. We have a friend who has it here. He pays like $30 a month because he's ex-military and they have a military discount. And his banks use it for two-factor verification. His credit card uses it for two-factor verification. So that works. Whoa, what do you mean, Scott? You get two-factor verification with Skype from the bank? One of your banks will give you two-factor verification? That's interesting. I mean, I can get anybody to text my Skype, but the banks, my banks, Chase, B of A, and Wells Fargo, they won't send it to Skype. That's interesting. You can use Wi-Fi to use your American phone in the Philippines. I do it all the time as long as your phone supports Wi-Fi. You don't have to buy any SIM card or anything. Yeah, Bruce, we have a lot of friends that do that. We absolutely do. Alex, good morning. Oh, love your channel. Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. That's great. Brent says, I use Navy Federal, NFCU. There you go. Navy Federal Credit Union, using my Philippine address for home of record. Ruby, I'm using a dual SIM phone. I'll receive the text for the second factor verification on my phone and use that to log into either Australia or BDO. No issues at all. Yeah, because it's a standard, okay. You have to be married 1 year to get the 13A. Yeah, I never thought. Arlen and I were married for a long time before I got the 13A, so I never really looked into it. BT says there's no interviews anymore and no time on marriages for 13A. Wow. As soon as you're married, you can apply. It takes a year for a 13A. Okay. We didn't wait a year, but we were married for more than a year. JRC, they're the fastest. Think great people work with you. Remember, they got a sign hanging up at the door as you come in. Be respectful, and they mean that, or they put you out. There you go. Pretty sure FDIC insures up to $250K. You know what, Copal? I'd have to go back and look. I don't know. Somebody can Google it, though. Andy says, I'm great, Algardo. We got Mike digging deep this morning on his life. Yeah, you do. You have me going into stuff that we haven't touched on in years, to be honest with you. Navy Federal credit. Navy Federal. Yes, the FDIC was raised to $250. Okay, there you go. That works. That shows you how old I am. Remember, Tim K let you know I'm elderly. So back in the day, it was only 100,000. Michael says a little known fact, they changed the law for FDIC bank failure in the U.S. They have a clause now that you are an investor in the bank. They can treat you like any other creditor and write you off. Really? That's interesting. 9 p.m. and it's 60 degrees on December 10th here in Massachusetts. We're having a tropical heat wave. Yeah, Matt, you would be. Wow. Oh, this is a beautiful time of year in Massachusetts, though. It really and truly is. I miss the Cape. I really and truly do. Shout out to Andy. Alex says NFC rocks. HSBC Bank ATM will let you withdraw $40,000 a swipe at your draw. Yeah, there are different ATMs at different places. Right up the street from us is a place called T-Backs Sports Bar, and their ATM does $40,000 a swipe. One thing for Americans to check into: a large university credit union has lots of exchange students. They have easy international banking rules and access for help. I guess that's a possibility. BT, I'll do a new 13A visa video as soon as it's all different than when I started. I just got mine done. I started my 13A visa prep 1 month before COVID, and there was a short written questionnaire and 1 year probationary period. And that's the way ours was. And that's the way all 13As are. Your first year is a probation, so that don't be pissing your wife off during that first year. She don't have to renew you. Nice, Matt. Florida here and getting into the 30s. Wow. Oh, Harish, thank you so much. Wow, a super sticker. It's so unusual for us to get them. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Actually, we really do. Thank you. The old canoe, Robert. I'm always the last one to the dance. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Robert. If you haven't subscribed or looked at Robert's channel, please do. The old canoe. He's actually very funny and informative. Thank you. Old canoe, get back to Texas. The steers are missing you. How funny. So, either way, I'm trying to think. So we've got the expat. that wants to get married that has no idea what he's doing. We've got the South China Sea Chinese Filipino stuff. We've got the video I did with Fat Bastard and um, what he thinks about himself and his glorious days out on the bar. And what else did we do that was anything noteworthy? I don't know. Oh, for those of you that are wanting an update, Arlene's father is still in the hospital. He's had 3 blood transfusions, still there. We're waiting on some additional stuff. My daughter, she's doing better, but she is definitely going to have plastic surgery to fix the scar. So, but she seems fine to be about it. And she has another interview. So she has 3 different vet schools so far that have invited her for in-person interviews. So that's going well. Let's see. Good morning, all. Hope you guys are great. Does the 13A visa require medical clearance? No. I did not have to go get a chest x-ray. Maybe. You know what? I come to think about it, I think they took my blood pressure. But again, that was pretty far back. So Dennis wants to know, with regards to the throwaway ticket, must it be under a certain amount of days from entry into the Philippines? You mean from when you're going to leave? Your throwaway ticket should be a ticket that is good for from day 5 to day 29. All right. It has to be valid for the amount of time you're going to get on that tourist visa. It could even be ongoing the same day, to be honest with you. But anyways, you throwaway ticket should be good during your valid tourist visa. If your throwaway ticket is after your tourist visa is going to expire, it's no good. And you will not be able to work with that. Michael, the guy wanting to get married to the poster child for a person that can't walk and chew gum at the same time. He was definitely out there. Okay, out of here, Mike. Have a great day. Giovanni, have a great day. Hope you and your wife are doing well. You guys have a great time. Gaming World, use ID Me. It's all you need for government sites. IRS, SS, OPM, government. Be honest with the bank about your address in the Philippines, Philippine phone number. Bank will not accept. Find new one. Well, you know what? That may not necessarily be completely accurate. All right. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. It depends. All right. If you have residence in the U.S., why would you give them your Philippine residence also? So it all depends. It really and truly does. Ruby, I was not required to submit a medical for my 13A. And like I said, Edgardo, I think they took my blood pressure. Somebody did, but I could be totally wrong. It's been that long ago. Doing great, old Cano. Hope you and everyone else as well finally signed the contract to sell my house and land on Friday. So should be in the Philippines and retired in about 6 weeks. Wow, congratulations, Bravo 21. Is Michigan State University one of the vet schools for your daughter? If so, hit me up. No, it's not. My daughter, with the exception of Colorado, purposefully excluded any place that got over 10 inches of snow a year. I love my daughter to death. She is extremely mature, and I leave it up to her. I'm not going to tell you what I thought about that as a attitude whatsoever. Michigan State is one of the best veterinary schools in the nation. BT and Betty, no medical for me. I guess I just don't remember it correctly. Dennis, I'm from Bermuda and been there 6 times. Never needed a tourist visa. Hope that hasn't changed. You know what, Dennis? You're getting it's a visa on arrival. All right. It's not really a tourist visa. It's called that. You don't get a visa like you would a normal visa. It's visa on arrival, which is designated under tourist. So it's the same as it's always been. Disclaimer: in any imagination in any given office can be different the next week. Yeah, that's absolutely true as well. Absolutely. Okay, folks, it's been an hour and 26 minutes, which is further than I would have liked to have gone. We really appreciate you guys showing up. Really appreciate you hitting that thumbs up. We had 44 thumbs up. That's tremendous. And we really appreciate the comments and the chat. We hope you have a great, wonderful week, because for most of you, it'll be the start of your week when you wake up tomorrow. Have a great day, and thanks for being here. Bye-bye.